So before we get into the heavy-duty science, we like to do some warm-up questions and just, you and I have never met. I don't know how much you and Art have interacted, but it's nice to have some just, generic sort of things. So can you tell us what the best meal or food or recipe is that you make?
Oh, that's a tough one because I used to work as a cook. So I paid my way through college and working in French and Italian restaurants. I make a killer demi-glace. So for like a steak au poivre, it's kind of one of my I'd say my signature dishes. I
when can we come over for dinner?
Yeah, that's amazing.
I worked at a Cajun festival when I was in college too. So I spent a week learning to cook Cajun style with Alan Fontenot and his Cajun Country Gentlemen. They were a band from Lafayette County that also cooked. So
awesome.
Yeah, so food's a pretty big part of my life. I try to grow as many of the vegetables I eat as I can. So my whole backyard is turned into like a little urban farm.
Wow,
awesome. So what do you make for your kids? Do they eat just full on adult food or?
They're working on it. My daughter is pretty into, as many folks, especially girls in her generation, are into sustainability. So she doesn't eat meat sort of out of ecological reasons. Mm-hmm. So we eat, most of our meals are vegetarian. I mean, I sort of feel sorry for my son because he could dig into
he wants a big steak. Huh?
He could dig into
cheeseburgers daily.
But yeah, I mean, they're getting to the age now where they're sort of transitioning to adult food, which is good.
Yeah, good. How old are your kids?
My son turns 13 in about a week, and then my daughter turns 16 in December.
Nice.
Okay.
I've got 15-year-old twin boys, and they've started to be pretty sophisticated eaters, which is like a relief. So
it's a lot more fun
really
that
nice.
way. Yeah, I was just telling Art my kids are off school today, and the promise to them, if you're quiet and you're good, then I'm taking them to sushi for lunch. So this is the strange palates that they have too.
Yeah. Well, so you may have already hit it. But another question we like to ask our guests as a warm-up is, what's your most impressive non-scientific skill or talent? And it sounds like chefing might be it, but what else?
Let's see. Well, I play music. I mean, I can't say I'm like super accomplished, but I play guitar and ukulele. I think that's gardening. What other hobbies? I mean, I've never been like really out of shape, and I've never been like fantastically in shape. I'm like trying to hit that middle road,
the intermediate optimum, right?
Yeah, the intermediate optimum. So, but I've been a bicycle commuter for like 30 years. So, in every city I've lived in. So,
good.
That's something I try to do.
Right on.
All right. What dead celebrity, historical figure, or scientist would you most want to have a beer with? And you can say Darwin, but I'm not going to lie. That's going to be a bit of a letdown.
No, I don't think it would. I don't think it would be.
Almost everybody we ask says Darwin, so just looking for something new.
I don't think it would be Darwin. Honestly, it might be an artist. I mean, it might be. Assuming I could speak the language. But I think it would be fun to meet, Caravaggio or Leonardo. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing. I went to college as an art major, so art was kind of a big part of my life when I was younger. So I was like the kid in high school. You know how like you have a little identity when you're in high school. So I was like the art geek.
Okay.
So I'm not so much I don't consider myself a successful scientist. I'm just a failed artist.
So what transformed you into a science geek?
Mediocrity, basically. I mean, I went to college a year early, which was probably a mistake because when I got to college, I just didn't have the confidence and chutzpah that's sort of necessary to make it in studio art, and I was just kind of eaten alive by all the kids from Manhattan. So I flailed around for a while before I sort of stumbled into a course on neuroscience. So I went to a university that had one of the first, if not the first, undergraduate program in neuroscience. And I didn't know anything about neuroscience, but it was the first thing that really clicked. So, yeah,
neat.
That's how I made the transition.
This is kind of a fanboy thing to say, but maybe this reflects your artistic background. But I think the figures in your papers are really beautiful, and they have a certain I don't know what, and maybe that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I thanks for saying that. I do take pride in it. I mean, it's not out of. It doesn't come off naturally, but we spend a lot of time. I mean, because it's really an effort of the whole laboratory. I mean, I really believe in visual clarity, not just in figures and papers, but in PowerPoint presentations and so forth. I mean, I think I think it's very important for science because we often think in images. I mean, you think about evolution, and everybody sees that picture of like the various primates, sort of walking to the right and becoming a human.
Yeah.
So at the end of each one of our papers from the laboratory, I always suggest to the students and postdocs that they rise to the challenge of the summary figure. Like, can they make a summary figure that is sort of the last thing that the reader will see? And the thing that if the work ever makes it to a textbook, what image are they going to use, right? So, I think that's a good exercise.
Great approach. So,
yeah,
love it. Last quickie question. So, what's the most beautiful place you've ever been?
Wow.
And Pasadena is not an acceptable answer.
Yeah, there's a place in the Cascades called the Enchantments, or the Enchanted Valley, and it's like this little dip. So you don't really see the valley if you're looking east. You don't really see the valley if you're looking west. So it's this little hanging valley with a beautiful basin of granite lakes. And one time I went hiking with two of my friends in October, and we got slammed by the first winter storm, and we were totally unprepared. But it was absolutely gorgeous. It's filled with larches, and the larches had turned that golden color, and just to have these snow branches on these golden larches, and we were freezing, but
freezing
it was
beauty,
beautiful.
But it was, yeah, but it was absolutely beautiful.